What if the most outrageous family on British television started falling apart behind the scenes? Since bursting onto screens in 2011, Mrs. Brown's Boys has been loud, crude, chaotic, and absolutely unforgettable. Brendan O'Carroll's foul-mouthed Dublin mammy turned family dysfunction into comedy gold, captivating millions across the UK and Ireland. But behind the laughter, not everything was rosy. Over the years, several key cast members walked away, some quietly, others in controversy. Were the departures about money, creative clashes, or something far more personal? Today, we're uncovering the real reasons these actors left Mrs. Brown's Boys, and how their exits changed the show forever. History of Mrs. Brown's Boys. Before becoming one of the BBC's biggest comedies, Mrs. Brown's Boys started on small Irish stages in the early 1990s. Brendan O'Carroll, then a struggling comedian, created Agnes Brown, a foul-mouthed yet warm-hearted Dublin mammy inspired by the women he grew up around. Originally, someone else was meant to play Agnes, but when the actress didn't show up for a performance, O'Carroll threw on a wig and did it himself. The crowd loved it, and Mrs. Brown was truly born. The stage shows were messy, loud, and unpredictable, full of ad-libs, missed cues, and jokes aimed straight at the audience. The stage shows quickly gained a cult following, especially among working-class Irish and British audiences who saw reflections of their own families, just louder, messier, and with a pint in hand. It wasn't until 2011, nearly 20 years later, that Mrs. Brown's Boys made its TV debut on BBC One. The sitcom kept its stage-style charm, live audience, visible blunders, and fourth-wall jokes. Critics hated it, calling it outdated and crude, but viewers couldn't get enough. Brendan O'Carroll built more than a character. He built a family. His wife, Jennifer Gibney, played Kathy. His son, Danny, was Dermot. His daughter, Fiona, was Maria, and his sister Eilish played neighbor Winnie. That real-life closeness gave the show warmth and authenticity, though it also led to the occasional off-screen tension. Soon, Mrs. Brown's Boys became a full-blown brand, sold-out arena tours, Christmas specials, books, merchandise, and even a 2014 feature film that flopped with critics but packed theaters. O'Carroll had turned his stage act into a comedy empire. Still, fame brought friction. As the years went on, longtime cast members began to leave, some quietly, others amid controversy. Love it or hate it, Mrs. Brown's Boys remains a cultural icon, loud, unapologetic, and defiantly old school. What started as a last-minute stage fix became one of Britain's most enduring comedies, though behind the laughter, change was already on the way. Fiona O'Carroll, Maria Brown. One of the first major exits that shocked Mrs. Brown's Boys fans was Fiona O'Carroll's departure. Fiona played Maria Brown, Agnes's strong-willed daughter-in-law and the long-suffering wife of Dermot. But Fiona wasn't just another cast member. She was Brendan O'Carroll's real-life daughter and had been with the show from the start. From the early stage plays in the 90s to the primetime BBC version, Fiona helped shape Maria into one of the show's most grounded characters. So when news broke in 2022 that she wouldn't be joining the live stage tour, fans were stunned. To understand the significance of her departure, you have to look at how deeply Fiona was tied to the show. Mrs. Brown's Boys was never just a sitcom. It was a family affair. Fiona had grown up with it before the TV fame, before the global tours. She played Maria during the early chaotic days when lines were flubbed and the humor was raw. Over time, Maria evolved from a quiet newcomer to the Brown family circus into a central character, the calm in the chaos and the voice of reason in a world of outrageous antics. But after over a decade, Fiona reached a personal crossroads. "I felt like I was living someone else's story," she admitted. "I needed to write my own." It wasn't just about leaving a character, it was about finding herself. A mother in her 40s, she realized she needed to step away from something that no longer felt like it belonged to her. Naturally, fans speculated about drama behind the scenes, especially given the fact that her father was the show's creator. But Fiona quickly dismissed the rumors, stressing there was no fallout. "I'm still as close to Brendan as ever," she said. Brendan, too, voiced his pride in her decision. "She's my daughter first, not just Maria," he explained. Her absence was felt by fans, though. Maria Brown may not have been the loudest character, but she was essential. The emotional anchor for Dermot, the balance to Agnes's madness, and a relatable voice for the audience. Without her, Mrs. Brown's Boys felt a little more unhinged and a little less grounded. Fiona's decision marked a shift in the show's dynamics. Mrs. Brown's Boys had always been about family and loyalty, but her departure signaled that change was inevitable. It sparked conversations about self-care, burnout, and the importance of stepping away from something, even if it's beloved. Since leaving, Fiona has stepped back from the spotlight, focusing on family. While she hasn't ruled out returning to acting, she's made it clear that her priorities lie elsewhere. Though she occasionally does interviews or speaks at events, she has no regrets about her departure. Instead, she's found a new sense of balance. Fiona may not play Maria anymore, but her legacy within the show remains undeniable. Gary Hollywood. Gary Hollywood's departure from Mrs. Brown's Boys is arguably the most controversial. Gary played Dino Doyle, the flamboyant, sharp-tongued hairdresser and Rory's on-screen partner, from the show's earliest days. With his distinct style and infectious charm, Dino quickly became a fan favorite, bringing humor and balance to the chaotic world of the Browns. But in 2020, everything changed. Gary left abruptly, and unlike other exits, there was no farewell episode or explanation. Dino just vanished from the Christmas and New Year specials, leaving fans puzzled and searching for answers. Gary later revealed the cause, a pay dispute. He claimed that he and Damian McKiernan, who replaced Rory Brown, were paid significantly less than the rest of the cast for the 2020 holiday specials. When Gary raised the issue, he said he was dismissed from future episodes, feeling blindsided after a decade of loyalty. What hurt the most, he said, was the sense of betrayal from a production he believed treated its cast like family. The situation escalated into a lawsuit against Fiona O'Carroll and other producers over claims of unfair dismissal, discrimination, and unequal pay. The legal drama made headlines across Ireland and the UK, dividing fans. Some supported Gary, believing he was wronged, while others defended Brendan, suggesting a business decision or misunderstanding. Regardless of the side taken, the show's image as a close-knit family was shattered. Brendan denied the allegations, calling it a misunderstanding, and stating he tried to resolve the matter privately. But with legal battles and media coverage escalating, it became clear that Gary wasn't returning. Dino's absence left a noticeable void. His character, once central to many scenes, disappeared without a trace. For longtime fans, Dino's departure wasn't just a casting change. It marked the loss of a unique, vibrant character who brought life to the show. Gary has mostly kept silent about the situation, though he has expressed his disappointment. He's continued acting in stage shows, but hasn't returned to Mrs. Brown's Boys. For many, though, Gary will always be Dino, the campy, confident hairdresser who lit up the screen. His exit left a gap that's yet to be filled, and while the show carries on, it's clear that something, or someone, is missing. Rory Cowan. Rory Cowan's departure from Mrs. Brown's Boys in 2017 left fans stunned. He wasn't just another cast member, he was the heart and soul of the show. With his vibrant energy, sharp wit, and memorable fashion, Rory's character became an instant fan favorite. His dynamic with Agnes and the chemistry with Fiona O'Carroll made him irreplaceable. Rory had been with the Brown family long before the TV cameras rolled, starting as Brendan's publicist for early stage shows. Eventually, Brendan offered him the role of Rory Brown, originally meant to be temporary. But Rory's natural talent quickly won over audiences, and he became an essential part of the cast. So when he left the live stage tour in 2017, fans were left wondering why. The reason, it turned out, was deeply personal. Rory had been caring for his aging mother while juggling the demanding touring and filming schedule. After her death, Rory felt emotionally detached and knew it was time for a change. "I was sad on the show. I didn't enjoy it. I needed to go," he admitted. Rory's decision wasn't about a lack of love for his colleagues or fans. It was about self-care. The joy he once had was replaced by grief and burnout. His exit marked a quiet, personal decision to step away for his own well-being. While Rory's departure was understandable, it was hard for fans. His character was recast with Damian McKiernan, but the change wasn't easy. The new Rory lacked the chemistry and comic timing that fans had come to love. Rory didn't vanish from the spotlight, though. He joined the cast of Fair City in 2019, showcasing his dramatic chops. He also released his memoir, Mrs. Cowan's Boy, where he reflected on his life, career, and time on Mrs. Brown's Boys. Rory may have put away the wig and heels, but his portrayal of Rory Brown remains one of the show's most beloved characters. For fans, he was a source of joy, and for the show, a foundation stone. His legacy will always be remembered as one of the brightest highlights. Jennifer Gibney. Jennifer Gibney, who played Kathy Brown, Agnes's intelligent, modern, and often underappreciated daughter, has been part of Mrs. Brown's Boys since its beginning. Her role is unique not just because of her character, but because she's married to the show's creator, Fiona O'Carroll. The on-screen mother-daughter dynamic between Kathy and Agnes has always had an added layer of charm, considering their husband and wife off-camera. As the seasons progressed, however, fans noticed something odd. Kathy started disappearing. Kathy had always been the straight man, the calm, career-minded counterpoint to the chaos of the Brown family. But by the mid-2000s, Kathy began appearing less. Her scenes shortened, and her role in the story reduced to more of a cameo. Fans began wondering if Kathy was being written out, or if there was tension behind the scenes, particularly with Brendan possibly phasing out his wife's character. Though it seemed dramatic, the truth was far more grounded. Jennifer later explained that her absence was a mutual decision with Brendan. There was no argument or fallout. It was a creative choice to focus on expanding storylines for other characters like Buster, Winnie, or Granddad. Both Brendan and Jennifer felt Kathy's character had run its course. Kathy had been the voice of reason, but after several seasons, finding fresh angles was becoming a challenge. Instead of forcing her into the spotlight, they decided to give her a more secondary role. Though Kathy was never officially written out, her absence was felt. As the straight characters dwindled, the show's tone leaned even further towards slapstick and absurdity. Whether this was an improvement is still debated among fans. But one thing is clear. Kathy's departure left a noticeable gap. Damian McKiernan. When Rory Cowan left Mrs. Brown's Boys in 2017, it marked more than just a cast change. It was a turning point. Cowan had been with the show for decades, beloved for his flamboyant charm and comic timing. So when Damian McKiernan, a former Mr. Ireland with limited acting experience, was announced as his replacement, expectations were sky high. Damian's take on Rory Brown was notably different, softer, quieter, and more grounded than Cowan's lively, expressive version. Fans quickly noticed the shift. While some eventually warmed to his portrayal, others found it hard to adjust, feeling that the chemistry between Fiona O'Carroll's Agnes and the new Rory just wasn't the same. Still, Damian gave his all, appearing in Christmas specials and live tours for several years. He remained professional and steady, even as whispers of behind-the-scenes tension grew. By 2020, his absence from promotional material fueled rumors that he had left due to the same pay dispute that led to Gary Hollywood's exit. Both men had reportedly discovered significant pay gaps compared to other cast members, and when they raised concerns, things quickly soured. There was no announcement or farewell. Damian simply disappeared from the show. Brendan denied any wrongdoing, calling it a misunderstanding, but the damage was done. Fans noticed the missing faces and criticized the lack of closure. For Damian, it must have been bittersweet, joining one of the UK's biggest comedies yet constantly being compared to the actor who came before him. Taking over such an iconic role was never going to be easy, and though he gave it his best, the character of Rory Brown never quite felt the same again. Each of these departures, whether quiet, emotional, or surrounded by controversy, marked the end of an era for Mrs. Brown's Boys. The laughter continues, but longtime fans can still feel the missing pieces that once made the show so special. What do you think? Did the series ever recover from these cast changes, or did it lose some of its original magic? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories like this. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.